Okay, hi everyone. I'm Jeannie. I'm co-founder of I Am Nurtured, mom, registered dietitian, here to have a nurtured conversation with you and Skylar about all things parenthoods.
Yes, yes. Yep, I'm Skylar, as Jeannie mentioned, registered dietitian, co-founder, father. Um, yeah, welcome to our fourth nurtured conversation. This has been exciting and fun. I think today our focus is on supporting mom postpartum, from like mental health to how family and friends can support to just overall lifestyle uh, practices, best practices. So I think we should dig in.
Yeah.
So Jeannie, connection between nutrition, postpartum, mental health, not really a question, but I guess your thoughts.
Yeah, I think this is one that actually often gets overlooked. When you're in the thick of postpartum, you want to fix things, like whether it is the sleeplessness or milk supply, or maybe you have a colicky baby, or whatever else is going on in your world. We tend to look at like, okay, how can I fix this immediately? Because it's really uncomfortable. And oftentimes it might not be the most obvious source of the problem, nutrition. We can't see from the outside when we're depleted in nutrients and how that might be playing into our symptoms. So very like research-backed evidence shows us that there are many nutrients that are pretty significantly depleted during pregnancy, and then even more so during postpartum, especially if you're breastfeeding. So being aware of, are you getting the nutrition support you need? And if not, how can you do that? If we want to get into the nitty-gritty of like what nutrients to look at that are very closely tied to postpartum mental health, we're talking about things like omega-3s, especially the EPA and DHA. Very, very clearly tied in the research to postpartum depression if you're deficient.
Mhm.
So that is one you always want to be taking throughout pregnancy for baby's brain development, and also for you for your mental health, and continue taking it throughout postpartum, especially if you're breastfeeding. Continue taking it while you're breastfeeding. Other big ones that tend to be significantly depleted throughout pregnancy are B vitamins, like specifically folate and B12. One of the things we hear from moms who start our prenatal and postnatal supplements in the postpartum period is like how they immediately feel a boost in energy and a boost in mood. And that tends to be more significant in moms who were depleted when they started it. These are water soluble vitamins, so like you can feel the effect sort of immediately. It's not like the fat soluble vitamins that kind of take some time to build up in your system. So focusing on those B vitamins, and then others like choline and zinc are also tied to your brain, your mental health. So making sure that you are getting that support with your mood regulation, your brain function, your energy levels. Like mom brain is real. From a physiological standpoint, your brain changes, but also if your brain is not getting all of those nutrients it needs to run at full tilt, especially when, the demand has increased so significantly, you're going to be feeling it. Um, Real quick, some other ones, vitamin D. We know vitamin D is really closely tied to immune support, immune health, but it's also very, very closely tied to mood. It plays a role in serotonin production. So make sure you're getting extra boost of vitamin D. We include extra vitamin D in our postnatal supplement in addition to what's already in our prenatal. It's very high therapeutic doses.
Right.
Magnesium is another one that really supports stress management. And it's involved in GABA production. I don't know if you've heard of GABA. It's also tied to serotonin. So,
Yeah.
these are things that I think most people don't think about. Like it's the nitty gritty that you might not really be aware of
Right.
even. Like, are you getting these nutrients? Nutrients like magnesium are often just skipped in prenatal vitamins
Yeah.
because it's a really bulky nutrient. It takes up too much room. So this
It's
goes,
a common deficiency for the standard general population, really. So,
yeah, and it's so important. And when it's just completely skipped over in your these supplements that are supposed to be helping during this period of time, and your
right.
food, our food is also tends to be much more magnesium deficient than it
That's right.
used to be. So that's another big one to think about.
Yeah.
Also, like in general, blood sugar balance is a big one that plays into mood dysregulation.
Yeah.
And again, it might not be something that we're super aware of in the postpartum period because life is wild. And,
Right.
unless you're like a super nerd and you're wearing a continuous glucose monitor, you might not be very aware of what's happening with your blood glucose. But
Right.
that comes down to, making sure that you're eating well-balanced meals, like getting your protein, healthy fats, fibrous vegetables, and, kind of, as easy it might be to have, a piece of yummy sourdough bread or something, like you might want to just make sure you're building in more balance into your meals to take care of your blood sugar a little bit more.
Yeah. Eating enough too. Staying
Yes.
hydrated if you're
Yes.
breastfeeding, and yeah, you see the through line, right?
Yeah.
From the preconception to pregnancy to postpartum. I mean, every nutrient, vitamin, mineral is doing something, and maybe
Hmm.
it changes, through the process. But yeah, no, it's great. It's good to be on top of it. It's good to be there before deficiencies show up. I mean, like you said, the B vitamin thing was shocking to me. I mean, it's feedback we got, in comments and people writing us messages. My energy's through the roof, and it's like, amazing based on what mom has just gone through, and now she has to, like, she's not sleeping, hopefully she's eating well, maybe not, but her energy's through the roof. That's pretty incredible, right?
Yeah. And when you can feel a difference going from deficiency to having like replete nutrient
Yeah,
stores in your body, and you feel it's hard to talk to people about feeling a difference from
yeah,
supplements or feeling a difference from your food, but that is a surefire way that that you were, operating at sort of on empty,
right.
to go from feeling so run down to feeling so energized.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so along those lines, what are the kind of elaborating a little bit more on some lifestyle nutrition practices that are best for, full, speedy recovery? Moms have natural births, moms have cesarean births, the recoveries are different. What's the good, general guidelines for someone in either one of those situations?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the type of birth that you have, you want to focus, like we just talked about, on nutrient replenishment because that's going to make the biggest difference in how you're feeling.
Yep.
So, when you're looking at meals, you want really nutrient dense food. So, we're thinking like really high quality iron rich dark meats,
Hmm.
leafy greens, omega-3s from things like wild salmon, other fatty fish, collagen, which you can find in bone broth. That's another like really wonderful
Yeah.
warming food. Lots of soups and stews and these like warming foods you might hear a lot about are very healing postpartum. Um, Eggs are super rich in choline. So thinking of like anything nutrient dense, right? So when you think of nutrient dense, think of like really colorful fruits and vegetables. So like beets, the leafy greens we talked about,
Mhm.
meats, iron rich, just and continue taking those high quality supplements postpartum. So whether you're
Right.
taking the high quality prenatal like ours or adding on the postpartum supplement, that's great. We want to continue that on throughout breastfeeding as long as you have this high output of nutrients. As far as other things you can do for like the full recovery, rest. Honestly, like that's one of the hardest things that moms face today
Right.
is, especially if you have older kids and you just welcomed a baby, it is very hard to slow down.
Yeah.
And many moms have to go back to work, fairly soon after having a baby. It's hard work. It's hard work holding your household together and managing a baby, potentially other kids and your relationship and work. It's a full plate.
Yeah.
So as much as you can before baby arrives, try to build in that window of rest. Like you might hear a lot about, the first 40 days after birth are really vital for helping mom's body recover.
Hmm.
One of the statistics or like a comparison that you see out there a lot is that when you give birth and the placenta detaches, you have a literal like dinner size plate wound on the inside of your body.
Hmm.
Like picture your dinner plate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
It's enormous. And
yeah.
imagine if you had that like on your belly
Gone.
on the outside where you were looking at it. I
Yeah.
think if we could see that, we could probably have a little bit more compassion for
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
ourselves. There's a reason that like the bleeding lasts so long after
yeah,
giving birth. It's because you have a wound,
yeah,
so literally lying down, resting, not forcing yourself to get back into workouts or even, going and running errands. Ask people for help with
yeah,
all these things. Like as much as you can, be immobile and
yeah,
rest with baby. And that's really good for connection with baby also, just
yeah.
being present.
I think it's a good time for dad. I mean, for dad to step up, right? From preparing the
Yeah.
meals. And one thing that I was always thinking about, and I always took the opportunity to be able to bond with baby, right? Because
Mm.
mom, she's so lucky she gets to hold baby for 9 months. But it's like there's an inherent bond there, right? And
Yeah.
so I think taking advantage of you know holding, feeding, all that kind of stuff whenever you can, just to give mom a rest, time for
Yeah.
dads to step up a little bit.
Dad's doing some baby wearing is the coolest thing a
Yeah,
mom will ever see out there,
yeah, yeah. Uh, so obviously that's male perspective, but aside from dad, what about other friends, family? What support can they offer? What gifts can you request from your extended support?
Yeah.
Any insight there?
I think, when baby's coming, everybody wants to give baby gifts and, have the baby showers and
Yep.
do all the, the cute little gifts, which, let people do what they're going to do there. But also, if you have a registry, there are so many ways that you can creatively get creative with that now. Like their baby list and
Hmm.
Be Her Village is another website where you can register for body work,
Hmm.
like prenatal or postpartum massage. You can
Oh,
register for doula services. Ask your friends to set up a meal train for you.
yeah.
If anybody asks you what you want for a gift, like say, here's my meal train, right? And that, especially when I had my second baby and we had all of the baby gear already, you have the strollers, you have the car seats, you have,
Hmm.
other than like clothes, which also you can get from many friends and family if you're, kind of in the baby world already.
Yeah.
People do like get on Facebook groups, people will give away entire wardrobes for free, right?
Abundance.
So
Yes.
if you want to spend your money on something, spend it on the things that are going to make a difference in how you're able to care for yourself so you can show up better for your baby. Like
Mhm.
all your baby really needs is you,
Right.
right? But for you to be well cared for, it often takes, sometimes an investment.
Yeah.
And, not everybody can hire a doula. Not everybody can hire like, sometimes for babies that have, are giving their mom a really tough time with sleep. I know many moms that went, a year with like severe sleep deprivation. A
Yeah.
night nurse can give you a little break here and there. And it's, so you can register for these things. Babylist.com, Be Her Village, and I'm sure there are other resources out there,
Hmm.
but like plan ahead on how you're going to take care of yourself.
Hmm.
Ask for the meal train and, just ask when people ask what they can do for you or what you need. It can be, come over and hold my baby, come over and maybe help me like clean up a bit or take my older kid out for a play date or
Right.
something. I had a friend here that just had her third baby and she's home with them, but she has her hands full. And I literally just went over to help her clean her house one day. And it
Yeah.
it makes all the difference in the world. Or, hold their baby while you go get a shower.
Right.
I think, moms tend to have this mindset that, oh, I should be able to do this all on my own. And that's not how it was meant to be.
Right.
For generations and generations, we either lived near our family or we lived in close communities and we were there to support each other. And because of how mobile our culture is now, many many kids just move away from their parents or like are
Yeah.
not, we're not close to our families and maybe, don't have a close friend network.
Yeah.
So it can be really hard to ask for that support, especially if you don't have people around you that you're really comfortable with. But
Right.
I would also suggest moms find a support group or some sort of like pregnancy group that you can join in
Hmm.
with before you give birth so that you can establish these relationships. Like
Yeah.
there are lots of programs like Fit for Mom. They do like or stroller strides.
That's right.
They you can go while you're pregnant, meet some friends, and you're all having your babies around the same time. It is possible to make those connections and build that community before you give birth.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, I went to a lot of free lactation groups when
Hmm.
I had my first, and I met a lot of other moms there who were, struggling through the same thing that I was. And, I got support, I got community, and, you leave feeling so much better and so much less alone
Yeah.
when when you feel so clueless and sort of lonely. It can be a lonely place when you're
Yeah.
postpartum.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think ask for help.
Yes.
I think that's a big deal. I think that, the role of the mom has changed. There's a lot of career moms and stuff like that, and they're, probably less likely to ask for help. And I think ask for help because, I think it's, if you're fortunate, there's a lot there.
Yes, it really
And
is.
that help leads you to be better mom, better
Hmm.
you, which everyone benefits from.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you can get support, you can give support. It's
Right.
building that network and the community,
That's a
you
good
don't
point.
feel
Because
alone. Yeah.
you'll be able to get, yeah.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, name of the game with postpartum is nutrient replenishment.
Yep.
Stay hydrated, try to keep an eye on your blood sugar balance. I know that's kind of a tall order if it's not something you're familiar with, but just aiming for balanced meals, rest, recover, take your time getting back into gentle movement and ask for help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And enjoy your time with your baby.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be complicated. Like you
No.
said, like there's that through line.
Yep.
The through line really is like focus on getting as much nutrient density as you can in your world from preconception through postpartum. Whole
Yep.
foods, good sources as
Yep.
much as possible, and take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. I think like, in our thoughts about what these conversations are going to be like from the beginning, from the fertility, improving fertility is building healthy food habits that just continue to benefit you through the whole
Yes,
process
exactly.
and beyond. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
All right.
that was great. Thank you, Jeannie. Very
Thanks,
insightful.
friends.
And yeah, that was great. Thank you. Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.